"Do you know what this looks like? Me getting dumped by someone like you," she said, after I caught her with the man her parents chose. "They never saw me as their equal. I made sure everyone else saw the truth. So I'm Edward, 32, been working as an architect for the past 8 years. I run my own firm now with 3 employees and we've been doing really well. Not rich, but comfortable. Own my house, nice car, all that. Been with my girlfriend Qley for almost 3 years now. She's 29, works as CFO at her dad's company, and when I say her family has money, I mean they have money. Like generational wealth, country club memberships, charity galas kind of money. Her parents Hugo and Catherine have never liked me, and they've made that crystal clear from day one. I remember our first family dinner. Her mom literally asked what my parents did for work, and when I said my dad was a mechanic and my mom was a nurse, the temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. Hugo just nodded like that explained everything about why I wasn't good enough for his precious daughter. The thing is, I'm not some deadbeat loser. I graduated from a top architecture program, worked my ass off at prestigious firms, built my own successful business from scratch. But apparently none of that matters because I didn't inherit daddy's empire or go to boarding school with the right people. They've been pushing this guy Theo on her since we started dating. He's 31, comes from some massive family corporation that does business with their company. His dad and Hugo play golf together. His mom and Catherine are on the same charity boards. It's like they've been planning this merger disguised as a marriage since these kids were in diapers. But here's what gave me hope all this time. Qley always told me she didn't care what her parents thought. She'd gotten into screaming matches with them defending our relationship. I heard her tell her mom once that she didn't care if they cut her off, that she loved me and that was final. Her dad tried the whole, "he's not one of us" speech, and she shut him down so hard he didn't bring it up again for months. I trusted her completely. When she'd come home stressed after family dinners, I'd hold her while she cried about their pressure. When they'd make snide comments about my background at social events, she'd squeeze my hand and whisper that we'd leave early. She made me feel like we were a team against the world. Last Tuesday changed everything. I had a client meeting downtown at this upscale restaurant. I'm walking to my table, checking my phone, when I spot a familiar laugh across the dining room. I look up and there's Qley, at a corner table, with Theo. My stomach just dropped through the floor. I literally had to grab the back of a chair to steady myself. They were sitting close, way closer than any business meeting I'd ever seen. She was laughing at something he'd said, touching his arm, leaning in like they were sharing secrets. The way she was looking at him. Jesus, that's how she used to look at me when we first started dating. That soft, interested, completely focused on you look. I'm standing there like a complete idiot, trying to process what I'm seeing while my client is probably wondering why I look like someone just punched me in the gut. I managed to sit down and order drinks, but I kept glancing over. Every time I looked, the body language got more intimate, her hand lingering on his arm, him leaning across the table to say something that made her giggle like a teenager. This wasn't some stuffy business dinner her parents forced on her. This was a date, a real, actual romantic date, and she was enjoying every second of it. I somehow got through my client meeting, nodding and agreeing to things I probably shouldn't have while my brain was screaming. When I looked over one last time before leaving, Theo was paying the check and Qley was looking at him with this soft smile that made my chest feel like it was caving in. When I confronted her that night, she had this perfect explanation ready. The words came out so smoothly it was like she'd been practicing. "Oh my God, Edward, I was hoping you wouldn't find out about that," she said, immediately tearing up. "My parents ambushed me with it. Dad said Theo's family wanted to discuss some partnership details and it would look bad if I didn't go. I hated every minute of it, but I had to be professional." She even cried a little, saying she felt terrible that I had to see it and misunderstand. She grabbed my hands and looked me right in the eyes. "You know I love you. You know this family pressure is killing me. I'm just trying to keep the peace until we figure out how to handle them permanently." But here's the thing, I've seen Qley in actual business meetings. I've watched her handle partnerships and negotiations. She's professional but distant, never warm or personal. What I saw that day was intimate, warm, real. The kind of connection you can't fake. I wanted to believe her. I tried to believe her. But something in my gut was screaming that this was all wrong, that I just watched my girlfriend on a date with another man while she spun me a story about family obligation. Am I being paranoid? Has anyone else dealt with family pressure like this? Part of me wants to trust her, but that scene is burned into my brain, and I can't shake the feeling that I'm being played like the world's biggest fool. Edit, I know Theo personally through business circles. He's not married, definitely available, and he's exactly the kind of guy her parents dream about. And no, their companies don't actually need regular dinner meetings between a CFO and an external partner's son. That's not how business works. Update 1. Posted 2 weeks ago after my last post, I couldn't shake what you all were telling me. The whole family pressure excuse was complete bullshit, and deep down I knew it. So I started paying attention to her business dinners. The opportunity came last Friday. Qley told me she had to work late, then grab dinner with a potential client. Said she'd probably be home around 10, maybe later if the meeting ran long. This was normal enough. She does have legitimate business dinners sometimes, and I'd never questioned them before. But something felt off this time. Maybe it was how she spent an extra hour getting ready, doing her makeup twice and changing outfits 3 times. Maybe it was how she was vague about which client it was, just saying, "Some guy dad wants me to schmooze." Maybe it was the way she kissed me goodbye, quick and distracted, like her mind was already somewhere else. My stomach was in knots all evening. I tried watching TV, tried working on some designs, but I couldn't concentrate. Around 8 p.m., I couldn't take it anymore. I felt like a complete creep, but I got in my car and drove to the restaurant district downtown. I didn't even know what I was looking for until I found it. Qley's BMW was in the parking lot of this romantic French place with dim lighting and intimate tables. That's definitely not where you take business clients. I sat in my car feeling like the world's biggest stalker, but I had to know if I was losing my mind or if my worst fears were coming true. 20 minutes later, they came out together. Qley and Theo, walking slowly like they didn't want the evening to end. He had his hand on the small of her back, guiding her to her car. She was looking up at him with this soft smile I recognized, the one she used to give me when we first started dating. When they got to her car, he leaned in and kissed her cheek, but it wasn't a polite business farewell. It was intimate, lingering. His lips stayed pressed against her skin for way too long, and when he pulled back, they stood there for another minute just looking at each other like they were in some romantic movie. I felt like I was watching my entire life implode in slow motion. I sat there in my car for another hour just trying to process what I'd witnessed. Part of me wanted to storm over there and confront them both, make a scene, demand answers. But I realized I needed to be smart about this. If I'm going to end this relationship, and I am, I need to do it right. When she got home at 10:15, she launched into this elaborate story about the difficult client, how boring the dinner was, how she couldn't wait to get home to me. The words just flowed out of her like she'd been rehearsing the whole drive home. Oscar-worthy performance. I just nodded and said, "That sounds rough, babe," while inside I was screaming. The next morning, I did something I never thought I'd do in my entire life. I hired a private investigator. I know that sounds extreme, but I need documentation. In our social circles, reputation matters. Both of us are successful professionals with networks and reputations to protect. If this goes south, and it's going to go very south, I need proof that I'm not the crazy, paranoid boyfriend making shit up. I found this guy Tom through a lawyer friend. Former cop, very professional, specialized in infidelity cases. I felt dirty explaining the situation, but he was completely understanding. Said he sees this kind of thing all the time, successful women leading double lives, thinking they're smart enough to juggle multiple relationships. Tom's initial report came back within 48 hours. 2 more business dinners that week, both confirmed through photos and surveillance. both at romantic restaurants nowhere near her office, both ending with intimate goodbyes in parking lots. Each photo felt like a knife in my chest, but I needed to see them all. I needed to understand the full scope of her deception. I'm done. I know what I have to do. The hardest part is that she's still acting like the perfect girlfriend at home, making my coffee in the morning exactly how I like it, asking about my projects with genuine interest, planning our weekend like nothing has changed. Last night she fell asleep with her head on my chest while we watched a movie, and I had to fight every instinct not to push her away. It's like living with an actress who's really committed to her role. My hands are literally shaking as I type this. 3 years, Reddit. 3 freaking years of my life with someone who's been lying to my face every single day while playing house with someone else. How long has this been going on? How many other lies have there been? How could I have been so completely blind? Edit. To everyone asking why I hired a pie instead of just confronting her because I know Qley. She's smart as hell and has an answer for everything. If I confront her with just what I saw, she'll spin it into something innocent. She'll cry, she'll explain, she'll make me feel like the asshole for not trusting her. But professional documentation. Photos with timestamps. That's a lot harder to explain away. About the pie costs worth every penny for peace of mind. And yes, everything he's doing is completely legal. Public places, no privacy violations, just documenting what anyone could see if they were paying attention. Update 2. Posted 1 week ago, the pie delivered his final report yesterday morning, and it was even worse than I thought. Photos, timestamps, restaurant receipts, even audio of them talking intimately outside her car. 3 weeks of systematic documentation showing a full-blown relationship, not just casual dates. But the worst part was the conversation he managed to record Friday night outside her apartment building. Theo asking when she was finally going to end things with the architect, and her responding that she was working on it, but needed to time it right so she didn't look like the bad guy. Working on it. Like our 3-year relationship was some inconvenient obstacle she needed to strategically remove. I planned the confrontation carefully. Waited until Saturday morning when we were both relaxed, having coffee in our kitchen. I wanted to do this somewhere comfortable, somewhere she couldn't run away or make a scene. Qley, I said, putting my coffee down and looking directly at her. We need to talk about Theo. The change in her face was instant and devastating. All the color drained out of it like someone had pulled a plug. For the first time in weeks, I saw the real her. Edward, I can explain. No, I cut her off. I'm going to talk and you're going to listen. I laid out everything methodically. Every dinner, every lie, every time she'd looked me in the eye and told me there was nothing going on while she was building a relationship with another man. I showed her the photos one by one, watching her face crumble with each image. Her sitting close to him at dinner, laughing at his jokes. Him kissing her cheek in the parking lot. The flowers he bought her, still sitting in the passenger seat when she drove home to me. And this, I said, playing the audio recording on my phone, is from Friday night. Her own voice filled the kitchen. I'm working on it, but I need to time it right so I don't look like the bad guy. The silence that followed was deafening. She just stared at the phone like it was a bomb that had exploded in her hands. That's when the mask came off completely. You hired a private investigator, she screamed, jumping up from her chair. Are you insane? You've been stalking me. The transformation was incredible. Sweet, vulnerable Qley disappeared entirely, replaced by someone I barely recognized. Her face was twisted with rage, her voice harsh and cutting. I've been documenting your affair, I said calmly, though my heart was pounding. There's a difference. It's not an affair, we haven't had sex. Oh, so there's a threshold now. As long as you don't sleep with him, lying to me for months is perfectly acceptable. She started crying then, but these weren't the gentle, manipulative tears from before. These were angry, frustrated tears. The tears of someone who got caught red-handed, not someone who felt genuine remorse. My parents have been pushing this so hard, she sobbed, but there was venom in it now. They threatened to cut me off, to remove me from the company. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. You've never had to deal with family expectations like this. So you decided to string us both along while you figured out which option was more convenient. I was trying to figure out what to do. This isn't easy for me either. I love you, but Theo. He understands my world. My family accepts him. With him, everything would be easier. I wouldn't have to fight anymore. There it was. The truth finally laid bare in our kitchen like a dead animal. I wasn't worth fighting for. I was the difficult choice, the one that required sacrifice and struggle. Theo was the easy path, the one that led to family approval and social acceptance. You know what, Qley? You're absolutely right. Everything will be easier with Theo, because you don't have to choose anymore. We're done. I expected more tears, more apologies, maybe even relief that her secret was finally out. What I didn't expect was the raw, ugly rage that followed. You can't do this to me, she said, her voice getting sharp and dangerous. Do you know what this looks like? Me getting dumped by someone like you, someone like me. And there it was, her parents' voice coming directly out of her mouth, all the classist bullshit I'd been fighting against for 3 years. Someone like me, I repeated slowly. You know what I mean. The architect who thinks he's as good as old money families. My reputation can't handle being left by someone from your background. People will think I couldn't do better. I stared at her, this woman I'd loved for 3 years, someone I'd planned to propose to next year. She just reduced me to my bank account and family tree, dismissed everything I'd accomplished, everything I was, because I hadn't been born into the right social class. Your reputation, I said slowly, is going to be fine, because you're going to tell people that we mutually decided to end things. Clean, simple, no drama. And in return, I won't share these photos and recordings with your social circle or your family's business associates. She looked at the evidence spread across our kitchen table, and I could see her calculating, weighing the damage of being dumped against the scandal of being exposed as a cheater. Fine, she said finally, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. Mutual breakup, clean split, but I want you out of here by tomorrow. I started packing that afternoon while she locked herself in the bedroom, probably calling Theo to tell him the coast was finally clear. 3 years of shared life reduced to boxes and garbage bags, photos of us together that now felt like evidence of my own stupidity. Edit. Some of you are asking if her parents know about the affair. I honestly don't think they do. I think they just kept pushing Theo without knowing she was actively pursuing it behind my back. But they definitely created the environment where this could happen. And yes, I kept copies of everything. I had a feeling this wasn't going to end as cleanly as she promised. Final update. Posted 3 days ago. Well, Reddit, this saga has reached its conclusion, and it's not at all what I expected when I wrote my first post 3 weeks ago. Remember how Qley agreed to tell people we had a mutual breakup with no drama? Yeah, that lasted exactly 48 hours. I seriously underestimated how angry she was about being left instead of doing the leaving herself. By Monday morning, my phone was buzzing non-stop with messages from friends, colleagues, and business associates. Apparently, Qley had spent the entire weekend crafting a very different narrative on social media and spreading it through our professional circles like wildfire. According to her version, I was an obsessive, controlling boyfriend who couldn't handle her success or her family's wealth. She painted herself as the victim of an emotionally abusive relationship, saying I had systematically isolated her from her family and friends, monitored her every move like a stalker, hired a private investigator to survey her when she tried to have normal business dinners. The social media posts were strategically brilliant. Nothing technically libelous, just carefully worded implications designed to make me sound completely unhinged. But it wasn't just social media. She'd been calling mutual friends with sob stories about my increasingly erratic behavior and how she'd been afraid to leave me because of my intense personality. My business partner Jake forwarded me screenshots of her posts around noon Monday. By 2 p.m., 3 potential clients had called asking if the allegations about my character and professional conduct were true. One client specifically asked if I had boundary issues that might affect my work relationships. I felt my entire world crashing down around me. 7 years of building my reputation, my business, my professional network, all of it under attack because I'd caught my girlfriend cheating and she couldn't handle being the one who got left. Tuesday morning, my lawyer called. Qley's family attorney had sent a letter threatening legal action if I continued to harass their client or shared private intimate materials without consent. They were trying to retroactively criminalize the evidence I'd gathered, painting basic infidelity documentation as revenge porn or stalking. She declared war on my reputation and my business, so I did what she forced me to do. I told the complete, documented truth. I made one comprehensive post on my social media accounts, calm and factual. No name calling, no character assassination, no emotional manipulation. Just the timeline of events with dates and the evidence I had legally gathered. I recently ended a 3-year relationship after discovering my partner was secretly dating someone else while repeatedly lying about her whereabouts and activities. I tried to handle this privately, but false statements about my character and professional conduct have forced me to provide context. I attached the key photos with faces blurred for privacy, relevant audio clips, and ended with, "I wish both of them well in their new relationship, and hope we can all move forward with honesty and dignity." The response was immediate and absolutely overwhelming. Within hours, mutual friends started coming forward with their own stories about Qley's behavior over the past few months. Apparently, she'd been setting up this narrative for a while, talking to people about how difficult I'd become, how her family was concerned about my reaction to their disapproval, how she might have to make some difficult decisions about our future. Qley's post was deleted right after. But the damage was already done. But the real bombshell came when Theo's ex-girlfriend Emma reached out Tuesday evening. Turns out Qley had been pursuing him aggressively since last summer. Emma had screenshots of Qley asking mutual friends about Theo's relationship status, coincidentally showing up at events where he'd be present, even deeming him directly about business opportunities their families should explore together. "She's been stalking him for months," Emma told me over coffee. "I tried to warn him, but he was flattered by the attention. Rich, beautiful girl throwing herself at him. He couldn't see the manipulation." The professional fallout for Qley has been swift and devastating. Word travels fast in our business community, and lying, manipulating, and trying to destroy someone's career over a personal relationship doesn't look great when you're a CFO. Several major business contacts have quietly distanced themselves from her family's company. Her reputation for integrity, which is crucial in finance, has taken a massive hit. Meanwhile, my clients and professional network have been incredibly supportive. It turns out most people can recognize the difference between gathering evidence of infidelity and being actually controlling. The legal threats disappeared once my lawyer responded with our own evidence of defamation and false accusations. Funny how quickly that backing down happened when they realized they had no actual case. As for me, I feel lighter than I have in months. I'm focusing on my work, reconnecting with friends I'd lost touch with during the relationship, and honestly, I'm genuinely excited about dating again someday. Someone who chooses me freely, enthusiastically, without reservation. Thanks for all the support, Reddit. Sometimes you do need strangers on the internet to tell you that yes, your situation is exactly as messed up as it seems.